Good morning. It is indeed a real blessing to be here this morning, and thank you for inviting me to share with you my perspectives about youth and politics. Politics is our very existence in the spaces that we occupy today. Holding this microphone and speaking into it is a political act. That makes me a politician because I am projecting my voice as a tool. What kind of tool is my voice? Is it a tool for good or a tool for bad? Who is a leader? Because every person is a leader. But then there are elected leaders. And those are the leaders who are in parliament, who are in the executive, who are in the legislature, who we have given the mandate to lead and to present the issues of our communities in the spaces where they serve. So this microphone, this act of speech, this act of presence, this act of assembly are all political acts. So we are all politicians by our very existence. We have a lot of problems and we are not the only ones. We have a high rate of unemployment. But how do we define our own selves and our own value? How are we choosing jobs? How come that we are still insisting on getting university education when what we need is indeed not what we may get from universities, but actually what we may get from polytechnics? Is it true that, the only way to assess worth is to check how many people follow you on Facebook or to peddle, other people's information? How about we rise above that and consider that the young people in the villages who are struggling with alcoholism need support, our support, to go through rehabilitation centers, to access mental health facilities? How about we admit that we are all living with mental struggles? How about we normalize the difficulty that is being in our own country? And once we normalize it, once we start to admit that we are all struggling in one way or the other, and then to bring solutions to the table, maybe that will inspire people to vote. Walking to a polling station doesn't mean that you're going to endorse either of the two names that might be on the ballot. It might also be an act of protest. That yes, I am in this polling station, and I will receive my ballot paper, and I will look at it, and my conscience will tell me that none of those people on the ballot are my choice. But I will walk to the polling station because the very act of walking there is an act of leadership. The very act of registering yourself as a person who ought to stand and determine the future of their own country is in itself an act of leadership. Let's create alliances, young people. Let the plight of young women be the plight of young men. Let the plight of our mothers be the plight of our grandmothers. Let the plight of our fathers be the plight of our mothers. Let us stand in alliance. And I challenge every young man in this room, every young man watching online, to support young women who are trying to get into those elected positions. Because your privilege, enjoying your privilege, cannot mean that because you are in a safe space, a space that recognizes the strength of young men, or men generally, denies that young female leader an opportunity to change the future of our country. When you get into a room and the room rejects you, and I'm talking about young people in politics, if that space rejects you, you must invest in the currency of courage. And then we must support you to exercise and to actualize that currency into something tangible. Information, consciousness, action. And it is nothing that one person can give themselves.